My name is Paul Julian, and I'm here with Joe Davies. We're both volunteers at the Veterans Memorial Center, and we're involved in the Veterans History Project. And the date today is Thursday, January 5th, 2023, and we're grateful we have the opportunity to talk with Mr. Joe Olsen, who's a veteran and had service in the Vietnam War. So I'd like to start, Joe. Again, Joe and I would like to thank you for taking the time out of your day to let us talk with you. Joe, where were you born?
Medford, Mass.
And your parents, who were your parents and what were their occupations?
My mother was a homesteader, and then my father was an electrician with the Boston Navy shipyard.
Okay. And did you have any brothers or sisters?
Yeah, I had 3 sisters. They're all deceased.
Okay. And did any of the sisters serve in the military?
No, but my sister Carol, her husband did.
Okay. What was your parents' and sisters' feelings about the war?
They were surprised that I joined.
Really? So it wasn't favorable?
Nah, not exactly. They figured I'd come home in a body bag.
Okay. They were worried about you.
Yeah, they were worried about.
Joe, what did you attend? Did you finish high school?
Yes, I did.
Did you go on to any college at that
No.
point? Okay. And did you hold any jobs before service?
No, I worked at for First National Food Service store in Medford, Mass. And I did a lot of stuff in the meat department.
Okay. Kind of like butchering?
Yeah, well, no, cutting meat,
Okay.
deli,
Okay.
deli and fish.
Okay. Now I'd like to move to the earlier days of your service. We'd like to talk about when you went in the military. Now you probably mentioned it to Joe. Were you drafted or did you enlist?
I enlisted.
Why?
Had to do something.
Did it like any of your buddies, or did they kind of?
No, my friends, my buddies' fathers who were in the Marine Corps, they told me about it. It was real hard, but to make a man out of me, which it did.
Joe, did you leave behind anything, like as far as a girlfriend or anything?
No.
Okay. And you mentioned you went in the Marine Corps.
Mm-hmm.
And why did you choose that branch?
Well, I didn't like the Navy because of the water, being in the sea and all stuff, Coast Guard too. The Air Force wouldn't take me because of my hearing, and figured I'd go in the Marines.
Okay.
They had better training.
Okay. And how did you get? Where did you enlist at?
I enlisted in Berkshire County, Massachusetts.
Okay. Was it kind of like how you typically do it, Joe? You go to a recruiter and
Yeah.
Okay. And so you enlisted, and then I guess you went to like a MEPS.
I went to enlisted, and I went to boot camp, and I went to ITR, then I went to combat infantry, and then after passing that, I come on a 30-day leave, and I left Medford, Mass, and I went to the recruiter, and they put me on a bus, put me on a plane.
And so this is right when you're going in.
Yeah.
That was going to ask you, how did you get your initial point of entry? How did you get in order to get to boot camp?
Airplane.
Oh, okay.
Airplane.
Where did you go to boot camp?
I went to, you mean,
Where was your boot camp?
I went to Paris Island.
Paris Island? I've heard about that. And then that was how many? 12 weeks?
No, 8 weeks.
8 weeks?
They needed Marines over there.
And then after you got done with boot camp, where did you say you went?
I went to Camp Pendleton
Okay.
for combat training.
Mm-hmm. How was it last long?
Well, it lasted about 7 weeks.
7 weeks. And in the combat training, just so the people that aren't veterans, when they see this, what did they teach you?
They taught me when we landed in Vietnam and all stuff, things to do.
Okay.
And then we landed in Vietnam.
Okay. Your first assignment your first assignment after basic training was Vietnam, huh?
Yeah, right.
Okay. And you mentioned before when we were just talking before this interview that you when did you get the designation of rifleman and radioman? When did that happen?
That happened the following week, or time between 7 days and 4 days and 7 days. They rushed us out in the field.
So that was like during the specialized training. It was specialized training. That was what you got at Pendleton.
Right.
And it only did you a matter of days.
Month and two.
A month or two.
Yeah, a month or two, and then they sent me to Vietnam, Okinawa.
At that time, you had the designation, right, Joe, of being a.
No.
No.
When I got there. Well,
When you
in
got there.
boot camp, I got the designation as 0311.
Okay.
I signed up for Air Wing, actually, and they needed 0311s, infantry, so they disqualified me for that and put me in the infantry.
And then when they do that, do they kind of assign you what, in infantry, like you'll be a rifleman, or is everybody just a rifleman?
The rifleman.
Just,
In the Marine Corps, they treat you as a rifleman, and then or a machine gunner,
okay.
and then they raise you up to certain ones.
Okay.
I stayed as infantry.
Okay. And the radioman, was that like a secondary job for you?
Yeah, well, when the radio man had to go back, or died or whatever, right? The first man up there was the radio man.
Okay. Okay, sir. And I don't know about asking a Marine this, but what was the hardest part of the training that you got, both boot camp and then your specialized
Rifle.
rifle?
I was city slicker.
Okay. Was just in general making that transition from civilian to military, what was the hardest part of it?
Landed in Vietnam.
When in Vietnam? Okay.
Saying, what am I doing here?
Now let's go. So you landed in Vietnam,
Right.
okay? And the way I want to do it, Joe, is go ahead and just mention. Do you know can you recollect, like kind of on a temporal basis, your time in Vietnam, or do you want me to mention some of these names from your buddy? We want to know what you saw, heard, and experienced.
Well,
very much
when
so.
I landed in Vietnam, they put me on a helicopter,
Mhm.
and they took me to my designated area, and then I had incoming coming. And
When you landed,
When I landed.
incoming.
Incoming and all stuff, and I jumped out and I landed in up to my knees in the rice paddy, and I fell over because that's the only thing that when you hear a mortar come in, it whistles like that. But if it doesn't whistle, you're in a deep trouble. But I survived that one, and then I went to my battalion.
So that was your welcoming.
Yeah, that was my welcome.
So you went to the battalion.
Right.
Was it the battalion like located in the area where you landed, or no?
Kind of.
Kind of.
Yeah.
So were you on a base or you were out in the field?
I was out in the field.
So from there, from when you first got there, like, do you recollect kind of where you went, as far as what emissions you were on, and,
I was right near. I was right near all the action.
mm-hmm,
I was in Second Battalion, 4th Marines, 3rd Marines Division.
mm-hmm. And this buddy, from his notes here, did you meet up with him pretty soon after you got there?
No, I
No?
met him up when I was got medevac back to Philadelphia Naval Hospital, and then I was assigned to NAD Earl,
Okay.
Navy Ammunition Depot.
Oh, I know that, Earl, New Jersey.
Yeah, and then we stayed in Earl. He never knew I was in 2-4
Okay, so this is after the fact, huh?
after the fact.
So, after you first got there, Joe, what do you remember first as far as like your experience? What do you remember that was the first engagement that you had?
First engagement was out in the field, snipers, going through rice paddies, going around rice paddies. We didn't go through them, necessary and all stuff. And then we just contacted a sniper and all stuff. We went after the sniper. I was lead point in my platoon, and then I changed and I put another guy in there, and then he got killed. The sniper just took him apart. And
That's
then-
what you were looking for, snipers.
Yeah, we're looking for the sniper. And we finally got the sniper. And then we left there, and then we proceeded on. We had like bivouac and all stuff waiting around. We had different areas that we had to go cover and all stuff. And that was it, and then we returned.
So they had
back.
essentially, Joe, they had a schedule for you guys.
No, not necessarily.
No.
It all depended when the
What was
hot
going
stu-
on?
When the hot stuff started.
Mm-hmm.
Then we'd go there. We were actually reactionary to up in Dong Ha. And then that was it.
In,
Kept on tracing through the fields until we hit something.
Is that you said? Is that Dadu?
Data.
Dado? Is that what you're talking about?
No, I was talking about C2 Bridge,
Oh, okay.
Camelot Bridge.
Camlo Bridge, yeah.
Yeah,
And
we got overrun by that.
so, what did you do? What was the operation?
We were just guarding C2 Bridge because the Viet Cong were trying to get to Contienne. And the only way they could, during the monsoon season, is go across that bridge.
I see.
And then hit Contienne.
So then you just guarded it, and so you guys were come
Well,
up upon you were.
Right, we were guarding there, and we got snipers shooting at us and all stuff, because they wanted to get, during the monsoon season, they wanted to get the bridge, and then they wanted to go up to Contienne. Contienne had 105s and 155s, and they were shooting up to up to North Vietnam, and then we also covered Contienne also covered Khe Sanh,
Okay.
and we had to move over there.
So, what was were you able to repel the attackers at the Camlo Bridge?
Mm-hmm.
And
We had eventually the captain or the captain and the colonel were stationed in their area, and they got killed. So my Staff Sergeant Wright took over the platoon and called Puff the Magic Dragon. And then we left the perimeter, and they
So-
called and said, anybody left in the perimeter? We said, no, take it all. And they came in, and they fired all the way around. We had
the air support, huh?
air support, yeah.
They cleaned it out.
Oh, they cleaned it out, yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't even go back in there.
Yeah.
They sent us back to Dong Ha. We walked back to Dong Ha instead of taking the helicopter back.
It was a long walk.
Yeah, about a few miles.
A few miles.
Yeah.
And any? Did you develop? Did you come across any resistance?
No.
No.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was a big deal. Your buddy talks about the washout
Yeah, the washout.
in the yellow brick road,
Yep. That was leading to Contian.
Contian.
And he was actually a machine gunner, and he seen all this artillery coming in and everything else, and trace around satchel charges and all that stuff. And his unit 3-4 was scheduled. S2 called him up and said, "Back up, you're going down." But then S2 said, "No, get back," because the Viet Cong kept about 5,000 Viet Cong down there, because if 3-4 had come down, they would have got wiped out. Instead, we got out of the perimeter, and then Puff came in.
Okay.
And then after that, they come in about 2 o'clock in the morning. It lasted about 4 hours, and then we got daylight and all stuff. And then we walked back to Dong Ha, and 3-4 went into the area perimeter, made sure everybody was
Taken care of.
killed.
Yeah. Then they talked about this bunch called the Fast Movers.
The what?
Called the Fast Movers.
Yeah.
There's talking about the bird dogs. More than one spotted a huge ambush, surprise, just waiting for us. They called in a bunch of fast movers from the ships off the coast with nape and snake.
Mm-hmm.
And they were told, this is your buddy, we were told to stand down because S2 thought NVA were using the attack on the washout to make a major impact in the area, wipe out the washout, and isolate Contian.
Right. Contian was the main place up in the north. It was right on the line. And what they wanted to do is come in, take the washout out, and then go across the bridge and go in. It was during the monsoon season.
I see.
And then they couldn't get in there on the side, so they tried that. And then we had, like I said, we had Puff come in and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. So this is all related to what you just stated, huh?
I'm-
All related, Joe, to what you just stated,
Yeah.
taking them out. Okay. It said that, it says that he said, I found out that Joe was there that night on the washout, and we were at Earl, but I didn't find out about Diado
Daydow.
until several years ago. And so was that what we were talking about?
Yeah, Daydow
Okay.
was off of Contian.
Okay.
And then it was trying to thing, and then 2-4 got in there, and we lost a lot of guys.
You lost a lot of guys too.
Right, and we ran out of ammo.
Okay.
And then we had a Captain Vargas, right, retrieved some of the ammo and all. So, and then Lieutenant Livingston came in with his troops,
Mm-hmm.
and we took care of it.
Then the other thing that he talked about, surviving Tet. Did you remember back, Joe, about what your experience was at the Tet?
That was actually rough because we didn't know who was the Viet Cong and who was the friendlies. And that way, I mean, they started shooting at us. We acknowledged that it was them. They covered in the houses and all stuff when we were walking through.
So, can you think back about when? I mean, where were you at when you were getting involved in this crazy Tet? Where were you?
We were coming in. We
coming in
We set a perimeter around there.
around the city.
Right. So
Okay.
none of the Viet Cong would get out.
Mm-hmm.
But it was actually like during Tet,
Tet.
their New Year's.
Okay.
And they
Yes, sir.
surprised us. They come down a Ho Chi Minh Trail, which were undeveloped
Yes.
and all stuff. And that was it. When they
So
came.
you, can you remember? Can you think back about like how it happened for you? Like how you, what your experience was as far as when the action started? Was it that that you got communication that the NVA's coming, and that you and that is that when you set the perimeter?
Right.
Okay. Was it a long for your engagement? Was it a long one for you, or was it
Mhm.
over pretty quick?
It was, we had to clean out the Hue City.
And
With
there several hours.
yeah, about 8 or 10 hours.
And would your battalion would you actually go in? Did you actually go inside the city and get engaged?
No, we stayed outside
Stay
with
outside.
the guard, and then the other units went in there and
So
knocked
you
down
provided cover then?
Yeah.
Okay. And so tell me, not being a soldier, so you basically,
We protected the guys inside.
okay.
If
And
anybody, and if the reinforcements from the Viet Cong or the NBA come in, we take care of them.
was it, did they really gain the advantage because it was surprise? Was it really a big advantage?
Actually, it was, and then they called in different battalions, different companies, and it took care of it. But we mainly stayed outside.
So you think you reacted pretty quickly, huh?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
but they were hidden in the buildings and all
Yes,
that
sir.
stuff, shooting.
Yes, sir. And so after, and it started early in the morning.
I couldn't remember.
Okay. You said it took you 8 hours. Do you remember when they told you like, hey, it's over for you guys? Do you remember, what
Yeah,
time?
we went in helping clean up
Okay.
the dead bodies and all stuff. But
Okay.
it's actually like it was I forget what battalion was in there taking it over, because it was the capital of Vietnam, Hue City.
And it's also, from what I read, their cultural
Yeah,
center. Yeah.
it was a beautiful country
Yeah.
until they started. I mean,
Yeah. So you were involved in aftermath then to deal with the going in there into the city?
No,
You just
we
stayed
had
on the
left-
outside. Okay.
we had left, and then we had let's see, we were attached. They sent us back to Quang Tri, and they had the 7th Marines, or I forget what battalion. It's been 45 years
Yes,
that
sir.
I can remember.
Yes, sir.
But it's that they put us on Quang Tri, and then we ran patrols around there. We landed on Hill 222, which was about 20 kilometers from Viet Cong. And then we went in. We didn't go in. We just stayed out there. We were out, we had autos that lost us track, so we had to stay there until they came out. It was like at nighttime, and you didn't know what was going on. We stayed awake all that night. Then when the autos guys come out, they fixed the autos and left.
So you guys stayed at the top there, and you just
Yeah, we were up there and we were waiting for the Viet Cong come out. And well,
did they?
no,
No. Okay.
they didn't know we were up there.
Okay. So then after that,
We came back and we were on a BLT, battalion landing team, and we were on the ship Iwo Jima, and
The
I
amphibian.
guess the other, I can't remember the other ship, and we were reactionary to China. We crossed over to China Sea, and we were reactionary to anything developed. And then they had the landing thing. I was on the helicopter side. And then when we went across the ocean, I forget what the hell it's
South China Sea.
China Sea. We went across the China Sea, helicopter started putt, 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 and then we returned back to the ship. And they worked on it, and everything was copacetic down there.
And you got off finally. Huh?
We got off on there and all stuff. But, yeah, we had Camp Carroll there, was the fire base, and then Khe Sanh, and then you had the rock pile.
Yeah, what was that?
Rock pile was a Marine base.
Oh, okay.
We were all protected. We all the way around. The Marines were up here, and the Army was down south.
So the Marines pretty much stayed to the north, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then, so basically, the organization of the Marines and the Armies, they had some bases,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
basic thing.
Yeah.
And Da Nang was their basic room where they came,
Okay.
where they stayed, the Army, and then we used it to come down for Tet, north of Da Nang.
North of Da Nang. Okay. So they had to come down south. You guys had to come down south,
The
right?
Gooks had to come down south.
Oh, okay. Okay. Okay.
And then we come down, and then we took sniper fire, and took fire and everything else.
Okay.
I was lucky not to get hit.
And then the Army, that they are basically the theater of operations for the Army is out down south, huh?
Yeah.
Yours is up north, huh?
Mm-hmm.
So you're probably closer to the NVA, right? They had
Right,
the-
we were.
yeah.
The NBA were actually experienced. It's just like back in, I consider Vietnam was actually like back in the Revolutionary War, where the British come over, we would come over and try to take America, and then the people that lived there and also took up their guns, to fight the British. That was the same thing I noticed.
So then, as that to go back to the thing you initially said, you really didn't know who was on your side and who was
No.
against you, right?
We had, when in Quang Tri, we had a patrol going down to I think Highway 1, and then like Mama San carrying the baby on the back, she turned around with an AK-47 and just like that, and then the corpsman grabbed a hold of the rifle and shot her legs off. That way to protect the baby.
So that, and this goes without, not to be naive, but this was nothing unusual.
No.
And it's all the
We
thing.
didn't know who that was.
Yeah.
They were white during the day and they were black during the night. Because black, you couldn't see them.
Yes, sir. Now, you mentioned those two big battles. Did anything else that you could think of, Joe, for the record? You know, for your.
Well, when I first got there, we had to go in to help E Company out. Gulf E Company. I mean, 2-4. And they got attacked by the Viet Cong, and then or the NBA, and we had to go in and get the bodies. Marines never left the body in. We went back, put them in bags and all stuff, and took them back to Dong Hao.
They didn't have special people to.
No. When we were out there, we did everything. Didn't have no corpsmen or whatever.
Yeah.
We had corpsmen, but they considered this one's expired, that one expired.
But as far as taking the body and the average Marine does that.
Right.
Yeah.
We never leave anybody there back
Mhm.
there.
Mhm.
If so, we come back for them.
Mhm. So that was, pretty tough, I guess, for
Mhm.
anybody,
Oh yeah.
and knowing, especially if you know the
Know who
person.
it was. Like, we never kept a buddy over there because you never knew if he was going or you were going. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You always had happy time and all. So.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, before we move on to the, well, let me ask you this: um, how did that change you, Joe? Did that pretty much that experience when you were a young man? Did that pretty much everything in the future? Did that form you?
Yeah,
And in other words,
PTSD.
yes, sir.
Yeah. Well, actually it did, but then later on in life, 2 years, I've just forgot it. I didn't want to bring it back in my brain,
Okay.
my memory and all, so until I met a few people down here and they asked me if I was overseas. I said, yeah, they were overseas, and so that's how it happened.
Okay. The did it? I mean, other than talking about it, I mean, just the fact that it happened to you, did it change your personality? Do you think?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Made me mad and everything else. And I went to psychiatrist.
And it did, yeah, impact you heavy. Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, just
Now I still go over to VA in Vieira.
mm-hmm.
I see a psychiatrist, I see a heart guy, and I see a a psychiatrist, and I have my regular GP, and if I have anything wrong with me, he sends me to the right person.
Okay. Now, I remember you got this letter that you brought in that was really helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Did you make many friends, and was there camaraderie and stuff, given how horrible the situation was?
I made friends when I came back. I come out of Philadelphia Naval Hospital. I had hearing. I got tendonitis, and I couldn't hear. That's why they sent me back. Because if you can't hear, you can't hear.
Right.
I mean, you're a threat to the other guys.
Right.
So I had that, and then I went to Philadelphia Naval Hospital, and I was in there, and then from there they sent me to NATRO, Navy Ammunition Depot, and that they took that out of they closed it, and then I met different guys in my my company and all stuff over there, and we Bill Fuchs, the one that wrote that, didn't even know I was in 2-4. He was in 3-4.
Wow.
And then we got to talk. I still talk to him over the phone, but he's actually getting the same thing I am.
During the time that you were over there, did you have the time to stay in touch with your family?
Not exactly.
Not exactly. It was just so fast, so
We
quick.
just moved from one place to the next.
How long were you over there?
I was over there about 9 months before I got in.
It did probably seemed like a lot longer than
Oh,
9
yeah.
months. Yeah. As far as R&R, did you?
No, never went to
No,
R&R.
Okay. Do you recall any particularly humorous or unusual events that were really out of the ordinary? Were they funny or they're just different that while you were over there?
No, we carried on with different conversation. We started laughing about this one,
Yeah.
that one, this one, that one.
Yeah.
But as far as we didn't discuss anything but the war.
Okay. This is gonna. Did you do anything, Joe, for good luck? Did we have any superstition?
I prayed.
Now, go ahead, sir.
I prayed that nothing would happen to me. I prayed for my other guys.
Was there, all of what you talked about, was there anything like positive that you could take from your experience? Anything positive? One thing?
I learned what the whole war was.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay. Okay. All right.
still skeptical about what I remember.
Okay. As far as, do you recall the day that your enlistment ended?
Yeah, I was happy on down Highway 34. I threw all my stuff out, except for the ribbons. I said, no way I'm going back.
Where were you at the time?
I was at any deer Navy ammunition depot, Earl, New Jersey.
In Earl. Okay, and I'd actually been there in service.
Mhm.
Did you immediately return home, or did you not go home? Did you go?
I went home eventually.
Okay. And this is how were you received?
Oh,
First of all, by your family, and how were you received by the community?
with the community, I stopped the cab that I took out of Logan Airport, and I told them leave me at the top of the street, and I walked down in uniform. And I had all my neighbors come out and start clapping. I'm starting to break up now. And I went home, opened the door. My sister left the door open. She always does that, right? And I walked up. I had my four nieces and nephews there, and I said, like that. Don't. I went aside. My sister was fixing dinner for the kids, and she turned around and she dropped the damn dinner on the floor. She was surprised and all stuff. But then she called my other sisters, and then they came and all stuff, and they congratulated me coming home and all stuff. I stayed there, and then I went back up to Berkshire's with my sister, and then I went back to base. I got weekend liberty.
Okay. And when you got out, I mean, was it hard to readjust to civilian life?
Kind of.
Kind of.
Because everybody asked me about this, about that, about this, about that. You bring any ammo home? I said, hell no.
Yeah.
I haven't touched a gun in 50 years.
Really?
Hmm.
Wow.
Don't want a gun.
Yeah.
Don't want a rifle. Don't want to go deer hunting. Don't want to go quail hunting.
Did you, Joe? Did you go to school or did you go to work?
I went to work.
What did you do?
I went to different places. I went to a supermarket to work. I didn't like that. I got out of there. And then I went to, where else did I go? I went to UPS and worked for UPS for 30 years.
30 years.
And then retired.
So you did a whole career, huh?
Mm-hmm.
This did your war experience, did it shape you, and did that impact how you went about, everyday things as far
Well, I
as?
kept on looking over my shoulder.
Really?
Yeah.
So we were talking PTSD. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got PTSD. I got tendonitis. 100% disabled.
Okay. Were you able to use the benefits?
Yes.
Okay.
Used the VA.
Okay. How about the GI Bill? You able to?
No,
didn't
never
care
used
for that.
that.
Okay. Did you continue any friendships after service? Any friendships? Did you continue?
Yeah, I did. When they found out that I came home and all stuff, they used to ask me questions. And then I met my buddy, Billy Kelly. He was with the, I forget, the 1-7 down in Da Nang. And he got strapped on his leg and all stuff. And so they
Yes,
sent
prosthetic.
him back.
Yeah, prosthetic.
Right. So they sent him back to Chelsea Naval Hospital. And then one night I was in the bar talking to my friends, 2 Army guys. And then I seen him walking in. He had 2 girls on his arm. And he looked at me, I looked at him, I looked at him, he looked at me and all stuff. And I said, Kelly. He said, Olsen. Yeah. So we stayed up that night in the bar and we talked about everything.
And it goes without asking, but I'll ask it. That's unusual. that was unusual. that
Oh,
you-
yeah. That's unusual because I never thought I'd see him again.
But the idea that you guys had a similar horrible experience,
Right,
that you guys were like comrade in arms, and
right.
but you're not going to be talking to your
Mm-mm.
wife and kids. You don't.
Yeah. Another thing is, when I was over, he had a medical thing, and I was over over at Chelsea Naval Hospital, right? And I seen this guy walking down the hallway, and I forget his name, but I said, "You there?" And what happened is, he got machine gunned all the way around, it twisted him around, and so he finally made it, but he kept on going. He was from Connecticut.
Mm-hmm.
He kept on going back and forth to
Mm-hmm.
Chelsea Naval Hospital,
Mm-hmm.
and that's when I met him.
Mm-hmm. This is not him, right?
Huh?
This is him. This is the one that.
No, no,
This is
no,
another
no.
person, huh?
That's Billy
You about Kelly?
Kelly.
Yeah, and
No, Billy Fuchs.
Billy Fuse. Okay, and then so that one of the couple people that you're able to
Oh yeah,
go over.
right.
Yeah.
I I had a few good buddies over Earl,
Mm-hmm.
but they were just spread out.
Okay. Did that experience you had, did it affect the way you related to others?
In a way, yeah. I get angry all the time.
Okay.
I'm going to a psychiatrist now.
Yeah.
She give me pills and all. So
Okay. Okay.
I'm going to. Actually, I go over to the VA and all stuff, and the doctor, my primary doctor, sends me here, sends me here,
Yeah.
sends me here, sends me here. And I
Okay.
never get a report except for him, and then he'll write a letter to me saying, "This is wrong, this is wrong."
Okay. And you mentioned you were did join veteran organizations, right?
Oh yeah, I'm in
And-
the VA, and I'm in I'm in the VFW, I'm in the AMVETS, I'm in the Legion, and I'm in actually the Masons, and a few other ones I can't remember.
And did that like help with you?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
too many beers.
Did you and I don't know but if this is even relevant, or did you attend any reunions?
No.
No.
I got a
Okay.
reunion up in Jersey with NAD Earl guys,
Okay.
but I never went there. I was always busy
Okay.
or working also. But they have it every year.
Okay.
They're different locations. Last time they had it down here.
And
I
that's the
couldn't-
2-4, huh?
Yeah, 2-4.
Mm-hmm.
They always have it around Chicago or whatever.
Joe, we're getting to the end.
Yeah.
What were some of the life lessons? Can you say were you able, as far as to get any value from that terrible experience? Were there any life lessons that you learned?
Try to get rid of my anger,
Mm-hmm.
and then behave myself, which I haven't been doing that. That's why I see a psychiatrist.
Yes, sir.
I've been married 3 times. My third wife is excellent to me. She takes care of me, even though she says I don't appreciate her, which I do, and she doesn't understand that.
Mm-hmm.
Because every time I do something, it's a brain fart.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't do anything outside the yard, so I can't walk actually because I fell down, I broke my hip, and I had 3 screws put in there, and then my left foot, somehow, it don't work. That's why I got a
Mm-hmm.
walker.
Mm-hmm.
And they can't find anything wrong with it. They give me x-rays, and I light up at nighttime. It's just the idea. My
Would you-
wife helps me. My wife definitely helps me a lot. She gets mad at me, doesn't talk to me. My brother-in-law would tell you that. It's the 3 sisters down here do the same
But
thing.
there's a you mutual. There, you both love each other, so
Oh,
it's
yeah.
not a. It's just a day-to-day type stuff.
Day to day,
Yeah,
I might
yeah.
screw up somehow,
Yeah.
and also she won't talk to me. She'll slam the door
Yeah,
in the bedroom. Don't want to talk to me. And
but
all this.
but it comes around.
Yeah,
It
she
comes
comes around. I
Okay.
come around too.
Okay.
I said, I'm sorry. She said, you said that 1,000 times. It will not happen again. She said it 1,000 times. I said,
Oh,
I'm
boy,
sorry 1,000 times.
That kind of sounds familiar over
Right.
here, but I wasn't in Vietnam. Do you did the your military service, Joe, impact your feelings about war? I think you mentioned
Oh,
it
yeah.
did. And what do
Definitely.
you think about that?
I think it's a money maker for big business. Ammo,
Mm-hmm.
uh, everything else.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that drives a lot of the decision?
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
A lot of guys. I mean, they supply. I'll give you an example. McNamara was Secretary of Defense, right? All right. He come from Ford Motor Company. So that enabled Ford Motor Company to get all these vehicles. So he made a profit there. Money,
Mm-hmm.
everything. Ammunition people made money. The weapons guys made money. The airplane guys made money and all that stuff, right? It was just a political war.
Political, and it's the aerospace and defense industry opportunity.
Right.
And does it go without asking that you believe that was Vietnam, but let's go 50 years later, you thinking it's still going on?
It's still going on. Get
Oh.
Syria, Afghanistan,
Mm-hmm.
and then like the POTUS with Afghanistan pulling out. We never pulled out.
Mm-hmm.
We always stayed and fight.
Mm-hmm.
And then with Syria, Iraq, it's just a company. I mean, companies making money.
So we talked about our engagement in general, our involvement in general in the wars.
Mhm.
What's your opinion about the military itself?
Military's all right, but I mean, then you got, like I said, with McNamara, he was never in the war, never was in the service.
Could not understand.
He didn't understand.
Mm-hmm.
And then, what my thing when I was over there, they said to me, "Don't listen to your lieutenant. Don't listen to your captain. They don't know. They came over from West Point, Naval Academy, and all that stuff. Don't listen to them because you get killed." And we never did.
Never did.
I had a lieutenant told me to go across this rice paddy. I said, I ain't doing that. I'm open in the air. Anybody can shoot me instead of hiding around the bush. And then he brought me up on charges. And the captain says, all right, you do this, you do that. I said, yes, I did, sir. And then he scolded the lieutenant. He said to the lieutenant, don't you ever do that. You listen to your enlisted man. He's been over here long enough than you would a week. Now, I mean,
So-
what you learned back in the Naval Academy or the Air Force
West
or
Point.
whatever, right? You don't listen to them because they've never been in war. They don't know where a sniper is. That's when one of my friends got killed. A guy named Goodermuth.
Listening to a junior officer and somebody that's a rookie.
Right,
Yeah. So they just went away, right?
right. They got transferred to somewhere.
Yeah, yeah.
The captain says, I don't want one that doesn't listen. That was Captain Vargas, the one that received the Medal of Honor. So he never put me up on charges.
We need more of those people.
Uh-uh.
What message would you like to leave for future generations that hear this interview? Is any particular takeaway? I mean, I know that you're okay with the military. You're not okay with the people, the leaderships that determines whether we go to war or not, both either to engage or to disengage. Any kind
Well, I
of
figure this way, right? You got General Miley in there, right? Pardon my language. He ain't worth that.
really.
And then you got because you got another general come in and replace him, right? That doesn't know jack shit. And then you got another one, then another one. They're doing the same thing, and your president doesn't know what the hell he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
He's letting them do
Mm-hmm.
it, and all that stuff, right? I just get disgusted with the service.
Mm-hmm.
Now the Marine Corps, I read in the paper where they're trying to downplay the Marines, just make them all infantry,
Mm-hmm.
and that I don't think is right.
Mm-hmm.
Even the Army.
I think at most 3 more questions, Joe. As far as this particular interview, this story of your,
Episodes.
yeah, was there anything that in particular that you'd like people to know or to take away from?
Well,
your
a
story?
lot of people saying about the VA. VA ain't doing this. VA ain't doing that. VA isn't doing that, right? I go to the VA and they do everything for me. I got a house up north in Maryland, and I couldn't walk steps, so they came in and put a chairlift up there. I got 3 flights I go up to. They put a ramp in front of the house. They put steps that I can walk up. And then down here, they did the same thing. They had anything I need, I call them up, and they come out and do it.
More than happy with them.
Oh, I'm totally happy with them. But they can't find out what the hell happened to my leg.
Is there anything you would wish people knew about veterans? What would you wish more people knew about veterans?
Veteran is one that served the country and served everybody, so nobody would come in. They've been platooned and all stuff, that nobody would attempt to ruin the United States with freedom, in which they have done. The president, I ain't saying nothing bad about him, but he doesn't know what the hell he's doing.
Okay. Okay.
In the same way with the Secretary of Defense. They don't know nothing.
Okay.
They go by what the generals say, and the generals don't say nothing.
Okay.
All they got is ribbons on their chest.
Okay. Finally, anything else you'd like to add? Anything
No, I
else?
like with the VA, you guys, and also helping everybody out. I mean, I appreciate it, and the guys appreciate it, but they don't know too much about the VA.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know too much about this, that the VA can help them.
Mm-hmm. Just got to get the word out.
Right, get the word out, and nobody gets the word out.
Yes, sir.
Like I said, these teenagers are going in. Eventually, they're going to have the draft. Put more in. Say, I ain't doing that, I ain't doing that.
Right. Right.
And they're going to have to.
Right. Well, with that, then, on the behalf of myself and Joe, I'd like to thank you very much for telling us your story, and I found it really very, very engrossing. I mean, it was just very, and I'd like to thank you for your service, and just going forward, Joe, I just wish the best for you.
Oh, yeah, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Joe.
All right, thank you.